Today we are going to do the poem Dust of Snow by Robert Frost. Robert Frost was one of the America's most popular 20th century poet. He was admired for his depiction of rural life in his poem. Many of his, few of his famous poems include Mending Walls, Stopping by the Woods on the Snowy Evening, The Road Not Taken, After Apple Picking, A Servant to Servants. So, Dust of Snow, written by Robert Frost, he's an American poet, and it is a short poem of 2 stanzas, 4 lines each. And in Dust of Snow, Frost actually tries to change people's negative thought and belief about certain animals and things. The crow and the hammock are associated with negativity, doom, they're average, but they help to elevate the poet's sad or melancholic mood. And on a winter's day, he was walking under a hemlock tree when a crow shook down on him some snow which fell on him like dust of snowflakes. That cheered him up and saved the rest of the day for him. So it is, let's read the poem. Dust of Snow by Robert Frost. The way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree. So here poet was walking under a snow-covered hemlock tree when a crow perched on one of the branches and shook down some snow on the poet. Hemlock tree, it is an evergreen conifer that grows in North America. And it is called so because the smell of crushed leaf is similar to that of poison hemlock, which is very highly poisonous flowering plant. So I repeat, the way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree. So here the poet was walking under a snow-covered hemlock tree where a crow perched on one of his branches and shook down some of the snow on the poet. Has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I rued. So here in the stanza, poet tells us how the shower of snowflakes affected him. He was in a sullen mood, he was in a sad mood, he was in a melancholic mood, and suddenly the falling of the snow elevated his mood, cheered him up, cheered his mood, and he is glad that rest of the day was saved. Rude here means, he felt sorry about an event and wished it had not happened. So like he'd ruined half of the day, but with the falling of a small incident, he saved the latter half of the day. Now, when we are doing poem, what you have to remember is the literary device of the poetic device, which actually makes the poem beautiful. So, the poetic device used out here is imagery. Imagery is something where author creates images in the mind of the reader. So, for example, the way a crow shook down on me, the dust of snow. We can actually imagine a crow shaking down the dust of snow and the snowflakes falling on the poet. So, this is our imagination. He's triggered with his creation, he's triggered the imagination, and that is known as imagery. Now, what are rhyming words? Now, just see the last snow, crow, snow, me, tree. So crow is rhyming with snow and me is rhyming with tree. So the rhyming words are snow, crow, snow, me, tree. So what will be the rhyming scheme? A, B, A, B. A, B, A, B. It is, just see how we get A, B. Because crow is not rhyming with me. A, B. But crow is rhyming with snow. So A, B, B. Crow, snow, me, tree. So what is the rhyming word? Crow and snow. What is the rhyming scheme? A, B, A, B. What is the poetic device poet has used? He's used imagery. He's trying to create images in the mind of the reader. And images like through the lines, the way a crow shook down on me, the dust of snow. We can actually imagine a crow shaking down the dust of snow and the snowflakes falling on the poet. Now, what is the message of the poem? Like, even just see, you should know what is an alliteration. The words begin with same consonant sound. When the sound is the same, the initial sound is the same, it is alliteration. Mad monkey mania, ma ma ma. That is alliteration. Similarly, when you're comparing one thing with something else using words like and as, that is known as simile. So, what type of questions you can get? Like, questions like, where is poet standing? He's standing under a hemlock tree. Apart from the poet, who else is present in the scene? Apart from the poet, there's a crow. What did the crow do? The crow shook some snow and it fell on the poet. How did the snow fall on the poet? The snow fell on him like a shower of white dust. And the crow was responsible for the dust of snow falling on him. And the poetic device reached the poetic device in the first paragraph is imagery. Now, just see, like, what does a poet explain in the second stanza? Has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I rued. In the second stanza, poet explains the impact of the falling snow on him. The falling snow gave his heart a change of mood, uplifted his mood, elevated his mood. He was absolutely ecstatic. Initially he was depressed, he was melancholy, he was sad, he was gloomy, but all of a sudden, with a small speck of snow, there is a change in heart and change of mood. So, how does the incident actually help him? The poet was not in a good mood, he was in a gloomy mood, but the falling snowflakes elevated his mood and the rest of the day was saved. Students, now what exactly is the message of the poem? The message of the poem is that nature can sometimes spring up surprises which can actually bring us pleasure, and that sometimes seemingly insignificant things like hemlock tree and crow, a speck of dust, can uplift or gladden our hearts. Important question: what does the incident help the poet? The poet was not in a good mood, but falling of snowflakes elevated his mood, and the rest of the day was saved. So, according to you, what is the theme of the poem? The theme is that it is about finding unexpected things in natural world, and sometimes those unexpected insignificant things also can bring about joy and happiness in one's life. They can make you glad the way poet was glad and his sullen mood was uplifted, and suddenly he it the speck, the dust of snow cheered his mood, and he is glad that the rest of the day was saved. He did not he did not waste the whole day. At least something was saved. How do you feel Robert Frost has actually presented nature in his poet? He presents nature in a very different way. Usually, you see, poets describe beauty and significance of birds like nightingale, roosters, peacocks, sparrows. But here, a crow has perhaps never been a subject of any poem because it is black, it has got a harsh voice, and is considered as a ominous bird. The images that usually come to our mind is that crow sneaking, stealing food, crow being an opportunist. But Frost has used crow as a significant character in the poem. Like what he's trying to tell us is, like, in this way, he's used crow and hammock. You know, they represent negativity, the depression he faces, but he uses the blackness of the crow against the whiteness of the snow. Like, understand, he's used the blackness, though we are doomed. Sometimes we are in, clouded by gloom, and we feel doomed because of negativity, but there's always the other side, and that's positive. So here he uses the blackness of the crow against the whiteness of the snow. The crow sitting on the hammock tree represents gloominess in the poet's life, and when snow falls on him, he has a change of mood and he becomes absolutely optimistic. So, the first paragraph, he is pessimistic. Second paragraph, he is optimistic. Initially, the poem starts that he is gloomy, he is absolutely sullen, he is sad, he is melancholic. But with the falling of dust of snow, he becomes happy. The mood is elated, he is elevated, he is absolutely cheered. There's so much of happiness, there's so much of positivity, and there's optimism which comes. I hope you've understood the poem. Thank you, students.